So what really happened when Eminem's mother sued her own son back in 2000 for alleged defamation? This was a question that I was asking myself recently when I learned that Eminem's mother had passed away. My name is Brian Freeman. I'm an attorney in California, and let's look at what I found. Debbie Mathers, that's Eminem's mother, originally brought an $11 million defamation of character lawsuit against her hip hop star son in 1999. In June, Macomb County Circuit Judge Mark ruled in her favor of $25,000. The judge ruled that 23,000 of that, roughly, belonged to her attorney. Okay, let's talk about what they've got right here and what they've got wrong. What's correct? This was a settlement. This was not a lawsuit in which Eminem's mother won. This language here is misleading to the public and incorrect. She did not win. This didn't go to a trial. This did not go in front of a jury. This did not get decided by the judge. This was a settlement. And later we'll look at what this $11 million is all about. It's not that simple. All right, let's take a look at the second article we have here from Deseret News. Eminem's mother gets $1,600 for suing son. A judge ruled that Eminem's mother is entitled to only about $1,600 of a $25,000 settlement she won against her son. Again, we see this language of she won. She did not win. That's not how settlements work. Settlements are where both sides decide to stop a lawsuit, back away, and get out of the court system. They made a contract. They made an agreement. So Debbie did not win against Marshall. They settled. So it's interesting too to see. It's kind of ironic that she only walked away with $1,600 after attorney fees. That is not uncommon. Their lawsuits are not inexpensive. I'm sure her attorney, Mr. Gibson, paid for a lot of fees. You know, just the filing fee to get a complaint filed and served can be close to $1,000. It's my understanding that Mr. Gibson took the deposition of Eminem, and it took 3 hours according to the articles that I read. Unfortunately, I didn't get a copy of that deposition. I would love to read it or see it if it was recorded. But all that to say, this figure of $23,000 in actual costs is not unreasonable, and an attorney has to get paid for his work. So Mr. Gibson got the lion's share of this $25,000 settlement. If you Google search this, you're going to find so many articles just like this one coming from Fandom Wire. Here's this paragraph that I've got a problem with. Eminem and his mother, Debbie Nelson's relationship made light for all the wrong reasons, including a defamation lawsuit which she won. She did not win the lawsuit. We're going to look at the actual court filing. If Eminem paid her $25,000 to go away, that was the settlement. It was a settlement. It wasn't a win after a bench trial or a jury trial. One last sample of an incorrect article floating around the internet, this one by Showbiz Cheat Sheet. Let's go right to the part where I have a problem. The trial lasted 2 years, and in the end, Nelson was awarded $25,000 in damages. Okay, that sentence is legally incorrect. When you are awarded damages, it's after a trial. So in this case, there was no judge trial, there was no jury trial. There were damages being alleged by the plaintiff here, Debbie, Eminem's mother, but she never proved anything. This was a settlement before there was ever any trial. She claimed damages, but that's not how we characterize the money that changes hands when there's a settlement. People settle all of the time, often for reasons because it's cheaper to settle than it is to continue on fighting in court. Lawyers are expensive. I'm sure the attorney fees for Eminem's lawyer far exceeded the $25,000 that he paid to get her to go away. I read one article where Eminem said that he would spend $100,000 on his attorneys before he gave her one penny. Now, economic reality probably set in, and he thought, maybe it's time to stop paying my lawyers, pay her to go away. This is not $25,000 in damages. This is $25,000 in a nuisance settlement where he paid his mom to get off his back. All right, here's where things get really interesting. I ordered all of the public records from the state of Michigan, county of Macomb, 16th Judicial District in this case of Debbie Mathers Briggs versus Marshall Bruce Mathers III, also known as Eminem and Slim Shady. I obtained 50 pages of documents. All public record. I didn't get any protected or privileged information here. This is open to the public and anyone can obtain the same records, but I'm going to go over them for you and you won't have to pay to get them. It's $2 a page. So this is how lawsuits all begin. This is called a complaint. In civil litigation, when you want to get a case started, an attorney will draft a complaint. And this is called pleading paper that this was put on. And this was done in, I believe, the year 2000, maybe 1999, but we'll get there. And this lawyer, Fred Gibson, the attorney for plaintiff Debbie Mathers, that's the mother of Eminem, filed this lawsuit. And we're going to go through exactly what was alleged. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and I think it's important to clear it up, especially as people are searching for more details, more truth about the history of Eminem and his mother. All right, so this is, again, a civil action. This is not criminal, and this complaint was rooted in defamation. Defamation is when you say something about someone else that is untrue, and it damages their character, it damages their reputation. And one absolute defense to defamation is truth. Okay? It's not defamation if you say something that's true about someone else. But here's what plaintiff Debbie Mathers said in her complaint. So she's a citizen of the U.S., she resides in Michigan, and she's in this county of Macomb. But she currently resides in the state of Missouri. Marshall Mathers is a citizen of the U.S., resident of Michigan, county of Macomb. By the way, venue is appropriate where the defendant resides, which is why it was likely filed here. Eminem resided in the county of Macomb at the time, also known as Eminem or Slim Shady. Jurisdiction is proper. You always talk about jurisdiction and venue in these civil complaints. But here's what's really important. This is what was being alleged. This is the entire basis of the lawsuit. Count 1 for defamation, paragraph 5. In edition number 12 of SMS and or Starlog publication Shooting Star, an article was recently published entitled Eminem Bio, Will the Real Slim Shady Please Stand Up? At the end of this complaint, you'll see a copy attached as Exhibit 1. In the material, an excerpt at issue being, here it is right here, we can read it together. As unpleasant as Eminem may find some of his fans, members of the rapper's own family are saying the same thing about him. The singer, who is notorious for sharing his private life and past, got into a bizarre spot of trouble last year when his mother decided to sue him for $10 million after he rapped on My Name Is, I've just found out my mom does more dope than I do. The truth, according to Eminem, is of a mother strung out on prescription drugs, addicted to bingo, and always looking to earn an easy dollar the good old American way by suing the ass off of any company she could catch on the wrong foot. Eminem just considers himself the latest victim of the serial lawsuit filing Ms. Mather Briggs. She doesn't have a leg to stand on, so she's looking for things I say in interviews which might help her, he explains. But I'm not going to give her anything. I would love it to go to court. I want it televised. I want people to see what type of person she is and what my life has been like. All right, so that's the defamation right there. She is saying that those words uttered by Eminem are not true and that they damaged her reputation in the form of money damages. That's kind of hard to prove just in general, to show that words caused you actual monetary damage, especially when someone like her, who didn't have much income or a career, could hold up as evidence of, oh, I lost out on this opportunity or I lost this money because of what you said about me. So they're saying that these comments Eminem made were either negligently made or made with malice or reckless disregard for the truth. And the truth, according to Eminem, is of a mother strung out on prescription drugs, addicted to bingo, and always looking to earn an easy dollar, the good old American way. So we already read that. So they're saying that these statements were published to third parties with knowledge of the falsity of the statements, that they were not privileged. It's not protected speech under the First Amendment. And that's kind of hard to believe. That's a stretch. That she suffered physical, I just read that for the first time, and psychological injury and damages. So she got physically hurt by his words, not just psychologically depressed. Damage to her reputation in the community, with her family, friends, and peers. That's hard to believe. I don't think her family, certainly not her son and Nathan, were damaged. They seem to all agree about her as a person and what she did. She said that she had extreme emotional distress, diminished self-esteem, humiliation, mortification, disappointment, anger, fear, embarrassment, sleeplessness, anxiety, exacerbation of medical conditions, and other damages. They have another count in this civil complaint, so each cause of action can have their own damages. They all have their own legal requirements of proof. Count 2 is invasion of privacy. He's saying that what he has published puts Debbie, the plaintiff, in a false light in the public eye, that she's been a victim of objectionable publicity. Same type of thing. Count 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. This is a tort in civil law. It goes back. It's in most jurisdictions. It goes back in history for quite a long time. So they say that Debbie, the plaintiff, plead with Eminem and asked him to stop defaming and slandering and putting her in a false light through a continued publication of words and statements. But with malice and deliberate indifference, he continued to publish those words and statements that caused so much pain and heartache to plaintiff. Okay, setting aside all of the legal stuff, of course, this sucks for anyone. Any mother who is being talked about like this by her son is going to have emotional distress. But that's not the question. The question is, were his words true? And there was never any court that decided that. In this case, at least. Maybe I'm unaware of another case, but in this case, the meat of the complaint was never reached in a trial before a jury or a judge. All right, so here is the prayer for relief, and this is where all the articles get their $10 million or $11 million headlines from. As for each count set forth above, plaintiff requests this court enter judgment in her favor against the defendant in an amount greater than $1 million to which she is found entitled by the trier of fact. Trier of fact is judge or jury, to include interest, costs, and attorney fees. So we read how many causes of action? Three counts. And they're asking for punitive damages in an amount greater than 1 million. I don't know where the headlines came from, but they always will plead the upper limit of what they hope to get. That doesn't mean that they're certain to get this. They're going to have to prove their case and actual damages. That was all just headline for eye-popping stuff. 10 million, 11 million was not ever explicitly set forth in this complaint. But that's it. That's how you file a complaint. And she asked for a trial by jury. She never had that trial by jury. The lawyer included these exhibits, which look like part of the biography or article at issue, with the very offensive quotes that may or may not have been true. Since I was only able to obtain records that were part of the public record, there's a lot of documents that were missing in between the beginning of filing the complaint and then the end where we reach settlement. One document that I would love to see is the deposition of Marshall Mathers, the defendant, Eminem. I don't have a copy of that, but that would be very interesting material to go over as it pertains to the lawsuit and the discovery that was done. But now we're just going to fast forward to the end here. At the end of the case, in June of 2001, we see this document entitled Order Granting Defendant's Motion for Enforcement of Settlement and Order of Dismissal. So this is stemming from, most likely, a motion that was filed by Eminem's lawyer saying we need the settlement agreement that was reached and signed by both parties to be enforced by the court so that this case is laid to rest and that this case is ultimately dismissed. That's what this document is all about. And then it says that the above matter having come before this court on defendant's motion for enforcement of settlement, oral arguments having been heard, it's ordered that defendant's motion of settlement is granted, and the case is settled for a total of $25,000. It is further ordered that these matters be, and at the same time are, hereby dismissed with prejudice and without costs or attorney fees. This resolves the last pending claim and closes the case. Signed by Judge Mark Switalski. So sorry it cut off in the video there, but I promise you that's what it reads. And what it means is this case is closed. There was never an order or an award by the court after a trial. This was a settlement order. Okay, both sides likely went to some type of mediation. Eminem looked at the financial aspects of this case, most likely, looked at how much he has spent on his lawyer already, looking at how much money he would spend in the future if this were taken all the way to trial, and then decided, you know what, I didn't want to give my mom even $1, but I'd rather not waste money, so let's throw $25,000 at her and get this done. That's what happened. Case closed. $25,000. Final plot twist in this case. Looking at the last documents in my 50-page file ordered directly from the court, part of the public file. This document entitled Opinion and Order from the Court. Plaintiff Debbie Mathers Briggs moves for reconsideration of an order dated June 4th, 2001. So we just looked at that order. That was the order enforcing settlement, closing the case, dismissing with prejudice, everything. I wish I had a copy of whatever Debbie's lawyer filed for reconsideration, because that would have been a huge Hail Mary, whatever she put in that document of like, I didn't know what I was doing when I settled and I was tricked, or some nonsense that I've seen a lot as an attorney over the years. People just get buyer's remorse when they see how much money they're going to actually get at the end of the day. And she wanted a second bite of the apple. So here we go. The opinion and order after she filed that document. Plaintiff filed these actions against her son, Marshall Mathers III, aka Eminem, essentially asserting that he made unflattering and untrue statements about her in interviews. Plaintiff also said that he promised and then failed to help her pay the monthly mortgage and lot payments on her manufactured home. That's news to me. He didn't pay for her trailer park house. That wasn't in the complaint. Anyway, accordingly, plaintiff's complaints allege defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and breach of implied promise or agreement. Perhaps she amended the complaint later to include that. The matters were consolidated. Defendant moved to enforce a settlement agreement between the parties. That being Eminem's lawyer, he had the signed settlement agreement. He brought it before the court to say, hey, we have a settlement, enforce it, close the case. A hearing was held. An order granting defendant's motion for enforcement was entered. Plaintiff now moves for reconsideration. Court then goes through all the legal requirements to get something reconsidered, like palpable error by the court, or a party was misled, or all these things that they have in Michigan procedure, which are probably pretty standard throughout all the states. So they're saying that there had to have been a serious error. Anyway, so let's see what the court says here. Oh, yeah, that was interesting. There's a voicemail message where Debbie, the plaintiff, accepted the terms of the settlement offer. So the court was aware of this, where it's like an admission. She says, yeah, I settled it. And there's evidence in that voicemail. And her lawyer had the authority to settle on her behalf. And ultimately, the conclusion here, her motion for reconsideration was denied. The case remained closed. It is so ordered. So that's it. That is the end of story. And I mean, how sad, really, at the end of the day. I can't imagine I can imagine, I think, how Eminem felt. Just betrayed and furious and feeling like your mom just wants your money. Because this is right when he became famous. He finally had his big break, had a great album that was selling a lot, and as soon as he came into money, his own mother sues him. It's just distasteful. And we all know, if we've listened to Eminem's lyrics, he harbors quite a bit of hurt, anger, resentment towards his mother and all the things that she had done to him throughout his life as a child, as a young man, and then as a successful artist and an adult. But I hope that all this information clears things up about all the misinformation that's floating around there on the internet. Do not think for 1 second that Debbie Mathers won a lawsuit against Eminem. She lost. She's the loser here. She walked away with $1,600, ruined her relationship with her own son. And really, I think, for anyone who understands what's going on with this case, lost respect for her and what she did. There's some articles that say that she claims she didn't even know that she was suing her son, that like it was just this lawyer doing everything. That's impossible. A lawyer doesn't just file stuff and you have no idea what the heck is going on. She chose to sue her son. She knew it was happening. And it's just ugly that now this is the legacy that she has now, and the pain in memory of this that Eminem must have to carry. He's a bigger man than me. He forgave her in the song he wrote, Headlights. Even after forgiving her, I'm sure they had a strained relationship. But this is how things go in law. The case just ended. Debbie did not win. The parties parted ways with a settlement agreement of $25,000, of which Debbie only got $1,600.